Hello, Michael and I are back again today on another session in the Science is the New Religion script. It is the 3rd of February 2024, and I'm joined with Michael on Skype, and we are delving back into Michael's script, and the current topic is geology. And Michael, we just talked about some interesting facts about Greenland that I've never really thought about much before, and a very interesting. Never heard of anything of any kind of people living up there. Actually, I did not know that there's actually people living in Greenland.
Mm-hmm.
Not many, maybe, but there's still a population there. So very interesting. Thanks, Michael, for joining me, and thanks for inviting me in on the script, and I'm ready to delve in.
Okay, hi Brett, hi dear listeners out there. So please bear with me, stick with me with my bad English, but I think that I got a topic which far exceeds my English abilities. So we have looked upon the Earth, and we can't be sure what it is like, and we can't be sure about the properties, about the areas, about the land masses and all the stuff. This is just what we have been told, or it is just what we have been sold.
Mm-hmm.
So the equator means the equalizer of day and night. When the sun is on the celestial equator twice annually, day and night are of equal length. But it just means that it's also the sun worship, because it is directly correlated to the sun. That is very interesting, because there are certain countries who are just been named after the equator. One of them being Equatorial Guinea, which is in Africa. Africa is this land mass. That would not be very much interesting, but I found something. First of all, it's the flag. Unidad means unity, paz means peace, justitia means justice. Interesting, huh? This is not an African language here. This is not Swahili or so. No. Of course, we are speaking about the Middle Ages, when Spain and Portugal and all the people that just were robbing other countries. And even the Pope was there during the General Wednesday on 20 December 2023. So quite currently, Pope Francis turned his thoughts to Guinea. Am I mistaken here? Equatorial Guinea. Yeah, Guinea. Where an explosion at the country's main fuel depot has left at least 18 people dead and 100 seriously injured. The pontiff expressed his closeness to the families of those killed and injured in the explosion of Conakry, the Guinean capital. So the equator runs around the world if you think about the globe, or runs around the circle if you think about the other shape. But it runs around and should be the middle of it. It's not the middle of the mass, actually, because there are not so much people living there at the equator. Many people, or the majority of people, are living quite north. The equator, for example, touches here Malaysia and Indonesia in Asia, and is close to Miss Papua New Guinea. This is, of course, German, I have to explain. But that sends another idea, because I know that at the equator there are many people who are very, 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 very superstitious belief, let me tell you. And I came up about a session I only did in German, which is called The Power of Music, about vibrations and the origin of music in itself. And in the last session, that was session 12, it's about a certain band from the United Kingdom called the Future Sound of London, which is then the future sound and maybe also the future shock, because I was reminded of an extremely rare book, which is very close to superstition. And that book is Krankheiten und Krankenbehandlung bei den Chimbu im zentralen Hochland von Neuguinea. As you then see that, it's Guinea, New Guinea. Interesting. It's like equatorial.
You're saying Guinea. It's Guinea.
Guinea. Yeah, it's Guinea.
New
Yeah,
Guinea.
okay. It's
New
Guinea. It's like a guinea pig, huh?
Yes.
Guinea pig is also not that. It's not that nice of a word, guinea pig. Yeah.
Right.
So that is the New Guinea or New Guinea, and not Equatorial Guinea. But it is very close to the equator here, as you can see. That is the dividing line here between north and south. Okay. In that book, which is called Diseases and the Treatment of the Chimbu native people in central highlands of New Guinea from a certain Joachim Sterli. And I don't bother you with my German language, but this is from extremely rare book from Hamburg in Germany, 1973. This is called Magicians and Witches in New Guinea. Kumo. Joachim Sterle is a habilitated ethnologist and a herbalist. He lived for several years in the interior of Papua New Guinea to study the medicinal plants of the Papuan culture. He was repeatedly confronted with the local firm beliefs in witchcraft and magic, which he initially dismissed as superstition. It was only when he himself observed so-called witch tortures, these are nocturnal light phenomena attributed to the activities of witches, and witnesses cases of magical damage spells, that he was forced to question his scientific view of the world. The book presents his observations and thoughts meticulously and with a certain amount of circumstantiality, but impresses with his sobriety and lack of prejudice. Sterle finally comes to the conclusion that there is indeed a real malignant witchcraft among the Papuans that is connected to the Kumu, an animal spirit or demon that compels to the possessed to violate taboos like cannibalism or eating feces and vampirism. Christianity, and this is absolutely incorrect, and this is the term that is too evil for the computer to cope, and that is why the script has crashed.
Too evil for the computer to
Christianity is totally incorrect, but as Roman Catholicism has overridden the traditional defense mechanisms against this type of black magic, which causes a great deal of damage. Sterle, who was acquainted with Hubert Fichte and sympathetic to his ethnological research, therefore questions both our Western scientific worldview and conventional anthropology and ethnology, as being incapable of grasping the reality of primitive societies. A very informative read for anyone interested in magic or the occult, even if the many unfamiliar Papuan names are a little confusing at the beginning. So, once again, this is called Joachim Sterle, Hexer und Hexen in New Guinea, Magicians and Witches. Speaking about superstition. In these countries, in Africa, or in other parts of the world, like Asia, there are many superstitious beliefs. But officially, they all have been converted to Roman Catholicism, Brett. Or at least the majority of it. This is a synonym of the equator. This is the dividing line between north and south. And you see here the globe on the top. This is the dividing line between north and south. It's funny, because you can't see that line so clearly on the United Nations symbol. Because you have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it's the third one. So it goes through Africa, South America, it goes to Africa, and it goes to parts of Australia. Not Australia, but parts of Indonesia, or what was it then? This is also a map from Ferguson. That's called the Square and Stationary Earth. And on that map, there would also be equator, because that's the visible line here between that concave and convex, Earth. So that would be the dividing line here. And also on this, you would have the North Pole at the north, and you would have the South Pole in the south. So that's possible. And you would have here the sun and the moon. You would have here on their circular position around the Earth, whatever it may be. But that's from Orlando Ferguson, and that is even incorporated in the American, in some American official building. I can't remember now what it is. In Isaiah 11, it speaks about the circle of the Earth. And it speaks also about that they shall not hurt or destroy in all my holy mountain. That is really interesting, because then the North Pole here would be the highest part of the Earth. Aha. But Isaiah 11 touches the New World. And so therefore it is hard to combine it with this model. Although I have ever stated that I don't believe in a globe earth nor in a flat earth. But maybe my assumption when it comes down to this drawing. Because God was always on the highest part. So this is part of the alleged Mount Sinai, but in Saudi Arabia from Ron Wyatt, where the top of this mountain has another coloration because of the official explanation of the oppressive heat or the extreme heat, like a burnt surface. And there are other quotes of the Bible too. For example, Psalms 3, verse 4. I call out to the Lord, and he answers me from his holy mountain. So the Lord resides in the north, of course, you see Isaiah 14, and he has a holy mountain. So why not assume on any map that maybe the North Pole is a little bit higher than being indicated on any map? Because if you think about the Earth, at least, the Earth is his footstool. But when to approach the Bible literally, and when not, I leave it up to everybody's imagination. I have not studied that subject literally, but I can only tell you that all these mountains on the Earth, for every indigenous people, they have a sacred meaning. And speaking of superstition, there are also some childhood heroes that I was confronted with. This is Pan Tau, which is Pan, which is also a pagan god, or the hymn to Pan von Aleister Crowley. This is Pan Tau, the magic sorcerer, which with his 2 fingers up, he can do magic tricks, Brett.
Well, it looks like he's doing the papal salute.
Yeah, if the script is not crashing now, I don't know what he does. Yeah, I came to the same conclusion.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, but I was confronted with that when at the age of 4 or 5, you see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe he has his magic head. He can't do magic without his head. And maybe this head also resembles, it's a black head, maybe resembles also this dominion about the earth. Yeah, so who knows? But then that would not be the equator here, because otherwise just a joke. Yeah, you see that. Yeah, they tell you all with their symbols. Yeah, with their symbolism of horned one, horned god, and 666s and all the stuff. These are just actors. So we touched on Papua New Guinea, and we talked about Equatorial Guinea in Africa, and we've talked about much more. This is just repetition here. So we know that the method of the Jesuits, when it comes down to ratio historiorum, is always learning against learning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to take a closer look what's been left out, and not the blah, blah, blah and gossip about Trump and about money and about New York and about China and about Ukraine and all the stuff. But the Bible talks us that take heed that no man deceives you, and the Bible speaks about wars and rumors of wars. So there is much misleading in this word. So I try to put my finger on the things that nobody talks about. And the first thought that came up to my mind actually was the Jesuits. And people who are not generally seen as Jesuits. Maybe they tell us something that we should do to sort the things out. I came across Arthur Conan Doyle. I think that everybody knows about Arthur Conan Doyle. And it's not about his mustache. It's about what he did. He was a Jesuit-trained British propaganda writer of Military Intelligence 6 to make war propaganda for Wellington House. And he was a member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn with Aleister Crowley and the Society for Psychical Research. So he is somebody who works for the military intelligence, so he's a secret agent. He is Jesuitically trained. He is a member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, so Freemason, and a member of the Society of Psychical Research. And that's not all. He was educated at the University of Edinburgh, like Charles Darwin, and Stonyhurst College of the Jesuits. No wonder that he made it in this world, right?
Mm.
His daughter Jean Conan Doyle was a member of the Order of the British Empire and an assistant of Elizabeth II. He was the godfather of his daughter's friend Anna Lee, an actress who worked with John Ford, the CIA team of William Donovan. So the apple does not fall far from the tree, we have a saying here in German. But remember, he's Jesuitically trained and he's a Secret Service agent. And I think that everybody knows his most famous creation, if man can create something. That in 1887 he wrote a study in scarlet, like Babylon, the Scarlet Woman, Book of Revelation. The first story about a detective called Sherlock Holmes. Beware, when a spy called Christopher Carandini Lee portrays a detective, then apply their own methods, because they all are just fooling us. So, Mr. Carandini Lee, who is in a line of Charlemagne, he's portraying here a master detective when he was a real spy in real life with special operations executive from Churchill in the Second World War. But the author, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, became a member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn with Crowley, etc., also a member of the Society of Psychical Research with Arthur Balfour, who was a Cecil agent, the one Balfour Declaration. You know what the Balfour Declaration was about, Brett? I think everybody knows.
Yes, of course.
This is the elite. And they all are in it. Lewis Carroll, Alison Wallerland. So you see that all these writers, directors, spies, and politicians, they're all on the same boat. He was also a member, this Arthur Conan Doyle, or Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, of the Order of St. John. So that means you can be knighted for a Catholic knighthood and being a Freemason at the same time. And of the Ghost Club with Dennis Wheatley, also a horror movie author, Julian Huxley, UNESCO, president of the UNESCO, Charles Dickens, Peter Cushing. Charles Dickens, it's a portrait of Dorian Gray. We have talked about that in Bruce Lee session. Peter Cushing, who was the opposition of Count Dracula in the Dracula movies, etc. Doyle and Lewis Carroll, so Arthur Conan Doyle and Lewis Carroll, are also member of the Athenaeum Club, the cult of Athena, like Charles Darwin, which was then the Dionysus Club in London in the Sherlock Holmes fictions. And you see that all these people are here gathered together. He was also a friend of Harry Houdini, and Harry Houdini we had touched briefly because Harry Houdini lived in Laurel Canyon, and was having some ties with CIA and other stuff. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle promoted compulsory vaccination. He was initiated as a Freemason at the Phoenix Lodge. Oh, yeah, Bruce Lee sessions. Phoenix Lodge number 257 in South Sea. And this is the reason why he chose 221 Baker Street, Brett. Because the Secret Service of Charles Churchill, who had all the ties to the Second World War, who had all the orders to and license to kill, it was located at Baker Street in London, like Sherlock Holmes lived at Baker Street 221. The service was nicknamed the Baker Street Irregulars. And you won't find that, I have looked it up, Brett, you won't find that on Wikipedia, that information. So, a Jesuit comes up with a world-famous detective called Sherlock Holmes. And he is located in the same street as the Special Operations Executive. Come on. It's not that hard. No, these are no coincidences. And this is why Brett comes into play. Because Brett is Sherlock Holmes.
Well, what's this all about? Jeremy?
Jeremy Brett is a famous actor who has been seen as the best impersonation of Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, okay.
And his name is Jeremy Brett.
The actor, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So now think of this. If we are talking about Jesuits and the Roman Catholic Church, if we talk about the author Sir Arthur Conan Doyle being a Freemason and a Roman knight at the same time, and being a member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, Aleister Crowley, and the Society for Psychical Research, And he is then locating his own very famous, world-famous detective in the same street as the elite unit of Secret Service agent in the Second World War. It's the other way around. So they have placed the Special Operations Executive in the street, been used by Mr. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle 50 years ago. Wow, how awesome is that? But if you're all in the same boat, you do all the same thing. I just have to warn everybody, because now we are starting the real study, that we are not try to be supreme about others. We are just all learning here. I have no other knowledge than anybody else who would have done the same research. Because look what has happened to somebody who was obsessed with his work, like the actor Jeremy Brett, who has impersonated Sherlock Holmes dozens of times. It was really important for me that I just warn everybody, because what's now coming to happen, that what I would talk about, some people will think it's totally out of the blue, totally outlandish, stupid, what else. I'm just trying to explain thoughts, and it's just up to you what you think of it, or just if you just leave it, or if you just go with it and do your own research. This actor was called Peter Jeremy William Huggins. Professionally, the name was Jeremy Brett, so of course a liar. Of course, every actor is a liar. Was an English actor. He played fictional detective Sherlock Holmes from 84 to 94 in 41 episodes. He was playing Shakespeare, musical theater, My Fair Lady, Warner Brothers, all the big stuff. His birthday is the 3rd of November, 33, but has also been stated to be December 33 or 35 according to many sources. So be very careful. He was son of Lieutenant Colonel Henry William Huggins, DSO. You don't want to know what that is. That is Distinguished Service Order. So he was already in a circle. And his mother was one of the confectionery dynasty called Cadbury. In 1959, while Brett with double T, was playing Hamlet, his mother was killed in a car crash in the Welsh mountains. Wonder what happened there. This has a tremendous effect on his life. He spoke on the accident, and his mother has been killed savagely in a car accident in 1959, and I don't know what to make out of it. But he was a prolific actor, and now look what happened. Although Brett sang well, as he later demonstrated by playing Danilo in the BBC television broadcast of The Merry Widow in '68, his singing in the My Fair Lady was dubbed by Bill Shirley. Around this time, we're speaking about 1968, Brett was considered to replace Sean Connery as James Bond 007, but turned the part down, feeling that played 007 would harm his career. George Lazenby, Bruce Lee sessions, was subsequently cast instead. How highly regarded he must have been if he has been in talk to play James Bond then, and to play an agent then. More or less a Jesuitical agent then. 007, Freemason and all the stuff. Brett was approached in February 82 by Granada Television to play Sherlock Holmes. The idea was to make a totally authentic and faithful adaptation of the character's best cases. Eventually, Brett accepted the role. He wanted to be the best Sherlock Holmes the world had ever seen. And there lies the first danger, Brett, huh?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. If you want to be the best liar, because you aren't Sherlock Holmes, you're just an impersonation. He conducted extensive research on the great detective and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle himself, and was very attentive to discrepancies between the scripts he had been given and Conan Doyle's original stories. So he must be a fan. One of Brett's dearest possessions on the set was his 77-page Baker Street file on everything from Holmes' mannerism to his eating and drinking habits. Brett once explained that some actors are becomers, they try to become their characters. When it works, the actor is like a sponge, squeezing himself dry to remove his own personality, then absorbing the characters like a liquid. And I have to ask Brett on the other end now, doesn't that remind you of something?
Gee.
Doesn't that remind you about Jesuitism?
Sure.
Brett was focused on bringing more passion to the role of Holmes. He introduced Holmes' rather eccentric hand gestures and short, violent laughter. He would hurl himself on the ground just to look for a footprint. He would leap over the furniture or jump onto the parapet of a bridge with no regard for his personal safety. Holmes' obsessive and depressive personality fascinated and frightened Brett. In many ways, Holmes' personality resembles the actor's own, with outbursts of passionate energy followed by periods of lethargy. It became difficult for him to let go of Holmes after work. You see, this is a key sentence here. So, he was consumed by his alter ego, and this is close to possession.
Mm-hmm.
He had always been told that the only way for an actor to stay sane was for him to leave his part behind at the end of the day, but Brett started dreaming about Holmes and the dreams turned into nightmares. You see why I come up with possession? Brett began to refer to Holmes as you-know-who, or simply him. Terry Manner's 2001 book on Brett on the Roll provides some of Brett's thoughts, quote-unquote. Watson describes you-know-who as a mind without a heart, which is hard to play, hard to become. So what I have done is invent an inner life. Brett invented an imaginary life of Holmes to fulfill the hollowness of Holmes' missing heart, his empty emotional life. He imagined what you-know-who nannies look like. She was covered in starch. I don't think he saw his mother until he was about 8 years old. While the other actors disappeared to the canteen for lunch, Brett would sit alone on the set reading the script, looking at very noirs, reading Holmes in the weekends and on his holidays. Brett stated, quote-unquote, some actors fear if they play Sherlock Holmes for a very long run, the character will steal their soul, leave no corner for the original inhabitant, but also that, quote-unquote, Holmes has become the dark side of the moon for me. He is moody and solitary, and underneath I'm really sociable and gregarious. It has all got too dangerous. Brett's performance is regarded by many critics to have been their favorite rendition of Sherlock Holmes. Brett received the Legion d'Honneur, so the Legion of Honor, in 1994 for his role of Sherlock Holmes at a celebration, etc., etc. Private life and health problems. He married an actress. His son was born 1 year later, or somewhere later, and they divorced on the 22nd November 1962. I'm glad they not waited another year, Brett, after she claimed that she had left her for a man, that he had left her for a man. In 1976, Brett married Joan Sullivan Wilson, who died of cancer in 1985. Brett was in a romantic relationship with the actor Gary Bond, who died exactly 1 month after Brett. In the late 1970s, Brett was involved with Paul Sheehan. Brett never disclosed his sexuality. Brett exhibited wild mood swings that alarmed his family and friends, who persuaded him to seek diagnosis and treatment for manic depression, also known as bipolar disorder. He was prescribed lithium tablets to fight his condition. And then his health was declining, of course. I don't want to go into this. At one point, during the final series, Brett collapsed on set. And finally, he died. The New York Times wrote, Mr. Brett was regarded as the quintessential Holmes, breathtaking and analytical, given to outrageous disguises and the blackest moods, and relentless in his enthusiasm for solving the most intricate crimes. Yeah, but the problem is, do we want to be like a Sherlock Holmes? Because it's a character invented by a Jesuit in a Jesuit surrounding, in a secret service, with violence, guns, crimes, murders, and all the stuff. I only want to dig deep into this subject that we are now talking about, but I don't want to be Sherlock Holmes, and I don't want Brett to be Dr. Watson, because we are real people here, and we don't want to... Yeah, we don't want to lie, and we don't want to get absorbed by the stuff that the enemy is just putting out in front of us. We have to be really careful not to be affected in a bad way, so that we just look at it and then we make our own discussions. But we are not supreme in any things. We are just pointing the things out. We don't want to be better than anybody else. We are all brothers and sisters. And this is really, when I see what happened to Jeremy Brett, if you are being so close with evil, then I think you have to have a counterweight, the Bible. And obviously, I think that Jeremy Brett did not have that counterweight for the Holy Spirit or the Bible. And that's what you really need. You really need something. We are here for Ephesians chapter 5. We are here for spiritual warfare. We are not talking about flesh and blood and this actor and this guy and that person and this politician and all the stuff. No, we are thinking about here of an agenda. We are talking about doctrine here. We have to be very careful what we are doing now. And the assumption will be left to you. I just put out all the things and the combination of things. And if it is suitable to you, that's just your cup of tea. It's not mine anymore, because everybody has a different speed, pace, thoughts, and all the stuff. Yeah, it is just the things that we do not see.
Romans 1, you got verse 20. For the visible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power as Godhead, so they are without excuse. Because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools and changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible man, and to birds, and four-footed beasts, and creeping things. Wherefore God also gave them up to uncleanliness through the lusts of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth into a lie and worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen.
Yeah, thank you. So, who changed the truth of God into a lie, and because you have missed out of God, but that's not the big thing. The big thing is, of course, Romans 1:22, professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. What does the Bible tell us of the beginning of wisdom is the fear of God. So if we talk about now of special methods, encrypting things, numerology and astrology and all the stuff, yeah, so this is stuff that I have studied for years. Therefore, there might be somewhere out there who is more prolific in the Bible, because you see that my day only got 24 hours. And I just want to have more Bible-related context. But this is also the diversion which takes place in the world. The science is really the religion of the elite. And you see that if you are a Jesuit like Arthur Conan Doyle, a Freemason, a knight, and what else? These people in these close circles, they think of themselves as being the elite and as being wise. And we don't want to go in the same trap of the devil, that they just say, oh, you can be like gods. No, we just want to serve the Almighty. And therefore we are just looking for the truth. So let's start. With Sherlock Holmes. This is an adaptation of a new series of the 21st century by Stephen Moffat, who has also made that comedy shows like Coupling and like Doctor Who and all the stuff. And he was creating a character from Benedict Cumberbatch at the age of, I think he was 26 or so, very young Holmes with internet and SMS and all the stuff. So 21st century Holmes. But you see, nothing has changed. No? Brad, look at the background. What do you see?
It's pretty dark. I can't tell very well. A bookshelf. And a computer.
left of it.
Yeah. And someone sleeping on a couch, maybe.
Yeah, and there's a big painting, which has been enlightened by the...
Oh, it's so dark I can't see.
Okay. I can only improve it by just trying to make it a little bit...
Oh, is it like a split up pentagram?
Yes.
Oh, I couldn't see that.
Yeah.
That's so dark.
Okay, I'm sorry, but that's just... I hope that you will sometimes use your bigger screen then. Okay, so starts with the pentagram. So Watson comes up to Holmes, who's just bored because nothing happens, no crime to solve. Yeah, he's bored on the couch. So what are you doing? And Holmes explains all the bright stuff that he has invented and he has found out. And John Watson, an academic, an army doctor, says, why didn't I think of that? And the reply of Sherlock Holmes is, Brett?
An insult.
Yeah, he says, because you're stupid. Yeah, don't look like this. Practically everyone is. But you see that when Sherlock Holmes thinks of himself as being a wise guy, he's not. He's only more clever. And now I think that my computer is just making a problem here. No. Speichern, save. Okay. But he's not. Because what means stupidity in that context is another thing. Stupidity, in my humble opinion, means not initiated.
Yeah, right.
So therefore, practically everyone is, including all these people who have been studying for years at the universities because they are studying exoteric stuff. And now not the real truth of it.
The esoteric, yeah.
The esoteric stuff, yeah. So that's why I'm incorporating so many things to find out the truth, including astrology and all the stuff now in that session. There was a link, for example, between all the astrologers, which we haven't talked about in the science session. The name is a German one. It's called Valentin Nabot. He was coming out of a Jewish family, and he had some interesting thoughts about the Earth being in the center. Nabot's representation of the conventional view of the solar system left then Martianus Capella's geo-heliocentric astronomical model. So that is a geocentrical Earth, and then there's the sun, and there are other planets then encircling the sun. Yeah, so it's just a mixed up or a compromise, let's say. And then afterwards go to Telos, actually here means the Earth, to the heliocentric system of Copernicus. You see, that is just a little bit, and then you come to a complete different result in the end. And he has a measurement of time which has been used in the astrology that I have learned, and that is the movement of the real sun, which is not 1 degree per day, because we don't have 360 days for 360 degrees circumference of any shape of the Earth, but we have 365 days for 360 degrees circle, meaning that you have less than 1 degree per day. And this is the fixed numerical value that you then apply. These are 59 degrees and 8 1/3, help me out, minutes. In Germany we say minutes. What is it in English?
What are you talking about? Minutes?
If you have a degree, you have to explain a degree in English, then it is 0 degrees, 59 minutes and 8 1/3 seconds. But what is it in English actually? Is it arcs or so? Is it something I don't know in English?
No, degree, same thing.
Yeah, okay, so it's 0 degree per day, 0 degree, 59 minutes and 8 1/3 of a second.
Seconds, yeah.
Yeah, seconds, yeah. So that is the daily motion of the sun. So that all will take into account when we talk about natal charts and prophecies and all the stuff in the future, but not at this moment. Going back to Sherlock Holmes, that was the first episode. It's called, in the newer series, A Study in Pink, which is based upon the book A Study in Scarlet, and it's about a woman dressed in pink or in scarlet. Who could it be? So what is then very, very, very obvious in that picture when it comes down to the vehicle here, the famous London taxi? Can you see that, Brett? They only speak in symbols and symbolism, and so you have to look about what they are actually telling you. So that is the murderer here. He's driving a cab, a special London taxi. And he's got a special license plate. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. 5 + 8?
Yes, correct. So the evil guy has the 13.
I see. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he introduces himself to his roommate, Dr. John Watson, coming out of Afghanistan war. Afghanistan, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The address, yes.
Yeah, the address is Sherlock Holmes. The name's Sherlock Holmes and?
Address is 221 Baker Street.
Not quite.
221B.
Excuse me. Baker Street. So this you have to take everything, the details. So what they don't mention is that the Special Operations Executive, secret agents, was located at Baker Street, London, like Sherlock Holmes lived at Baker Street 221. Yeah?
But wait, this is 221B.
Yeah, you're getting closer, Dr. Watson. You're getting closer, Dr. Watson. You see, this is the most famous door of the world. It's called 221B for a reason. Can you imagine why?
No.
Okay, you don't know. Okay. We know what Mr. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was. He was a Jesuit. He was a Freemason also at the same time. So why does that number not add up to
5,
11 or 13?
Why does it not add up to those?
Mm-hmm.
Should it?
It should add up to something that the initiated or the somebody with a proper education, for example, like me, because I'm coming from astrology and other things in the past, should smile and said, okay, come on, guys. There's something to it. Yeah, so you see the sun symbol here on top. Yeah, so if it would be really mean, yeah, you must approach some Freemason or even worse number than this. It can't be a 5. So it must be something to it. Why is it B? And that's so simple.
Oh, 1 and 3.
Yes. So, Dr. Watson, 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus, now it comes the B into play, yeah, 13 is?
18.
Yeah, sure. And now you know more than 99.9% of the world population, I think.
Oh, geez.
But the world runs on ciphers and codes and symbolism. You know that guy who invented that character was smart and he was a Jesuit. He was in the inner circle of many secret societies. And when even the Secret Service was just in Baker Street, you see that, come on, it can't be that hard, huh? So Sherlock is a masculine proper name, it means fair-haired. And it's the slang of a private detective, of course, since 1903, then 15 years after, close to 15 years after the first story has been published by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, fictional character. So this is a Sherlock Holmes in the 21st century, and he's using email. This is his inbox. His inbox is having a message for his older brother who works for the government and runs the Secret Service. So how obvious must it be that Sherlock Holmes is a creation of a Jesuit who has ties to the Secret Service and secret society? So it's clearly a game of, yeah, you exoteric people out there, you are that stupid. So in 1887, he wrote a study in Scarlet about Babylon the Scarlet Woman, the first story about Detective Sherlock Holmes. And Sherlock now, because it is too obvious and it must be something fresh and new for the younger generation in the 21st century, it's been renamed as not a study in Scarlet, and I have to make a little bit that everybody can see it on one page, yeah, but a study in pink. Because nobody would use scarlet as depiction of a color nowadays because it's not en vogue, Brad. It's not modern.
Right.
So this is Dr. John Watson, an academic, yeah, sitting here in a stool, having a chat with the mastermind. Yeah. So now you got depiction here of a communication between an exoteric and an esoteric, right? Now, let's look it up. What do they say? Sherlock Holmes can read and just lies relaxed on the sofa, needs more space than the doctor, and says, no, and you have just casual conversation. I thought you'd be flattered. And I said, flattered, flat earth? That's can't be. It's just too outlandish. Maybe sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. So flattered. Not flathead or not flat earth, but flattered. I said, no, has nothing to do with it. No, it can't be. It's just my imagination. It's just sometimes you see that I'm just coming with that outlandish terms that people accuse me of. The sessions are taking that long. I want to come to the point. Yeah, but I have to listen to the details. You see that I would never come across 221B Baker Street as being 666. As the number of the beast, if I would say, what you like, blah, 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 blah. No, you have to look to the details. I need time to do so. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can't do a session with 20 minutes and describe everything, because then you would only have to believe me. But now you know why I came to that solution, and it's very interesting to teach these things to people that they are just be more aware. This is real awareness. That's not the awareness that the world is teaching you. This is real awareness. This is experience in life, that everything has a meaning that they point out, and you don't know it. So it's been flattered, and I said, okay, that's too much, Brad. Yeah, so I give it to you. That would be too much. Yeah. But Sherlock replies and said, flattered? Sherlock sees through everything and everyone in seconds. Wow, what a kind of a boast, huh? What a kind of a compliment. They have a discussion then whether the earth goes round the sun. Not that again, it's not important, is the reply of Sherlock Holmes. I said, what? Flattered? First he is flattered, and then they come up a discussion on the earth goes round the sun. I said, come on, that can't be. That happened to me yesterday at midnight. I said, oh, come on, not this again. Not also they are playing tricks on me. Okay, so the discussion goes whether the earth goes round the sun. Not that again, said Sherlock, it's not important. Yeah? And Dr. John Watson replies, hey, Sherlock, it's primary school stuff. How can you not know that? Because everybody knows that, but you see that Dr. John Watson is exoteric. Yeah? He believes the things that he has been taught in the primary school. And Sherlock says whether the earth goes round the sun, not that again, it's not important. Yeah? While John Watson, he's an academic, yeah. He insists on that. Sherlock, it's primary school stuff. How can you not know that? But he does not know it. He only believes it. That's a big. And Sherlock replies, well, if I ever did know that, I have deleted it. Because? And John Watson is staggered and said, deleted that? Sherlock says, listen, this is my hard drive. And it only makes sense to put things in there that are useful, really useful. So he does not mind about stuff that somebody has been granted, has been given as knowledge that the earth revolves around the sun, but he has only one hard disk drive and he only put things in there that are really useful, really useful. I can't tell you how close that is to the original script from A.C. Doyle, but they showed that on the first episode of Sherlock Holmes, even 4 minutes in. And it gets better. He says, ordinary people fill their heads with all kinds of rubbish. Where does that remind you of? There it is. Learning against learning, Brad.
Right.
So now you got it on one page. In Sherlock Holmes, they say, ordinary people fill their heads with all kinds of rubbish. And Cardinal Wolsey, a few centuries ago, in military learning, says it's the best to set up learning against learning and by introducing all people to dispute. Yeah, so put all the things in their head that they don't have the sense in studying for themselves. But it moves on. Sherlock, in that regard, Benedict Cumberbatch, said that makes it hard to get at stuff that matters. Yeah, because it's just too much in your brain, which is totally useless. Yeah, that's what he said. He said, Ordinary people will fill their heads with all kinds of rubbish, learning against learning. That makes it hard to get at the stuff that matters. Do you see? Because the stuff that's really important that you don't learn at the elementary school. Yeah. And then Dr. John Watson replies, but it's the solar system.
But it's the Pope's system.
Come on, we are just 4 minutes and 52 seconds into the first episode of Sherlock Holmes. And everybody would say that, oh yeah, that's just a blah, 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 just casual conversation. Yeah. But John Watson thinks now that he's just far more supreme than the big and the wise and the excellent Sherlock Holmes because he knows of the solar system. But Sherlock Holmes is so stupid because he does not know anything about the solar system. You see, that's the problem, that educated people like him really think they know it all because they have studied that on the university or have even learned that at the elementary school. And they can't differ if it is right or wrong because they just don't care. But Sherlock says, I'm Jesuitically trained, I come from a Jesuitical order, and I don't care about anything because it's not that important.
It's rubbish.
It's rubbish. What says Sherlock? Oh, hell. Interesting, huh? Hell, the remark. What does that matter? Because for our life here, that's only important that the Bible says that we are living on a stationary earth and everything else revolves around us. And he says, so we go around the sun. If we went round the moon, oh hell, what does that matter? Once again, speaking of hell. Once again, you see, we go around the sun. If we went round the moon, oh hell. Huh? So that is hell and around the sun and around the moon and hell in one context. Yeah, I leave it up to your imagination what that could be. What does that matter? And Sherlock now says, all round and round the garden like a teddy bear, it wouldn't make any difference. So for his world, when he's then concentrated on the items that he is eager to know, he does not fill his head with all this useless information. So, interesting, huh? Gets worse. A few minutes later, when the first murder happened and all the stuff, yeah, then you get a remark from the chief inspector here. Do you really not know that the earth goes round the sun? We are 12 minutes in the Sherlock Holmes episode from a Jesuitical author, and they don't have nothing to do but go around, talk about the solar system, that the earth goes around the sun and all the stuff, and you think that is a big coincidence, huh? I don't think so. But we leave now the solar system. Sherlock, in that TV episode, says some secret societies sent dried melon seeds. So he's speaking of secret societies in the first episode. Orange pips, things like that, 5 pips. And now comes the big clue. There he is here in London, obviously, and here's a cathedral or something else in the background. And for convenience purposes, I will enlarge it here for you, Brett. So this is a part of a dome here in the background. And now Sherlock is here, talks to Dr. John Watson the following. The words run on codes and ciphers, John. I think that's just more than enough for introduction of the mess that now will start because they are just trying to put everything under Roman Catholic dogma, and Jesuit science means spiritual dogma. So I think that mixing everything up is the deception of Satan, and that's what they try to do. That everybody gets his own Luciferian belief, either in himself or in thousands of gods or in alternative things, humanity, rules, United Nations, whatsoever. So mixing everything up to the desired result. This was in the ancient times, when they did not have the internet. This is an analog mixing console, one of the biggest and most expensive that you could get. The manufacturer is Jim Gamble. And now you got an analog TV screen, and you see that the more sophisticated everything else, the more subtle the lie will get, and of course will be spread on the internet and everywhere on the social media and modern sources in no time. That's why Mark Twain said the lie has encircled the earth or so 3 times unless the truth puts his shoes on. Yeah, so they are so fast in putting out every irrelevant and false news and information. And this is nowadays. They got even bigger mixing consoles. This is Capital Studio, Studio One, with digital screens and much more methods to just mixing everything up. And there are we with our little Bible, and people being confronted by the media with all their mixing up, and they say, I wonder why I don't hear from the shepherd anymore. Because being confronted by the television, by media, by laptop, by Walkman and mobile phones and all the stuff, they're being bombarded with useless stuff. And they don't have any space and any concentration left on the hard disk drive. And we, this small channel that we are both of us are running here, we are trying to have a little bit of a counterweight to that you just try to question everything. Right, Brett?
Yep, that's right.
Okay. Yeah. My sheep listen to my voice. I know them and they follow me. John 10:27. I don't know from that which Bible that is, but yeah. So, what you don't hear is a good message of the Bible nowadays. Very rarely. What does John 46 has to offer, Brad?
14:6 says, Jesus saith unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me.
Yeah, so it's Jesus Christ the way, and you don't hear from any government or any media that Jesus Christ is the solution. Everybody says about, it's climate change, it's the end of the war, it's this and that, it's that politician, it's that party, it's that science, it's that pill. Yeah, nobody mentions Jesus. So where do you hear so less of? Of Jesus Christ. But when it comes down to the earth, or their countries actually, where do you hear so less of, at least here in Europe, is, for example, Greenland from the last episode, and for example, we are going down to Central America, because everybody's talking about Trump being the next president, or Biden, or Kamala Harris, or what else. I don't busy myself with that stuff. This is just overload, and it's just unimportant. It's unimportant who's then now the Chinese head of the state, because they're all run by the Roman Catholic Church. This is Central America. This is my starting point. This is, of course, Central America, which leads to the first big problem, because if you take a look at Central America, you all of a sudden see that North America and South America is connected. So why do they count them as 2 continents? Actually, in my humble opinion, it's just one continent.
Well, that's the way Pope Francis referred to it too, by the way, when he came to that joint session of Congress in 2015. Mm-hmm. He spoke of being from this continent, meaning the American continent.
Yeah, see?
Not South America nor North.
Continent means a continuous landmass. And you see Costa Rica, Panama, with the famous Panama Canal.
Right.
There are certain names to that. It's just Middle America, then it's just Middle America consists of all these countries, including the Caribbean. Yeah, so you can differ that Middle America is a sub-region in the middle latitudes of the Americas. It usually includes Mexico, the 7 countries of Central America, and the 13 island countries and 18 territories of the Caribbean. Together with North America, they form the continent of North America, which is one continent in our belief. Colombia and Venezuela of Caribbean South America are sometimes included in the sub-region. The Caribbean is occasionally excluded from the sub-region, with Bermuda and the Guianas are infrequently included nonetheless. Physiographically, Middle America marks a territorial transition between North America and South America, connecting yet separating the two. Reminder here that everything is connected. At least it seems. So let's get back. These are all the countries. Middle America is used synonymously with Central America, compared with Middle Africa and Central Africa. It's uncommonly used as a synonym of the term Mesoamerica. Mesopotamia is really interesting. Mesoamerica, which generally refers to an ancient cultural region situated in Middle America, extending roughly from central Mexico to northern Costa Rica. Okay. So there are certain, you can say Central America, Middle America, but Mesoamerica would be then the ancient times. Okay, so that's not that interesting. That's what Hector just sent to me. When I look upon America as a continent, I'm always reminded of the Roman Catholic Church, because the Roman Catholic Church had all these invaders coming from Spain and Portugal into the land, claiming the land for the papacy, or officially, quote-unquote, missionaries came to proselytize and to convert these people into so-called Christianity, which is nothing else but Roman counterfeit religion. But Roman counterfeit religion you find in that book of Cain's Creed von Omar Said, on page 166, for example. There are some things that is just dogma being enforced on the native people then, and they're just subduing these people so that the papacy can claim the land. This is a very interesting book, but it would far exceed all the study about geology here. The Roman Catholic Church has its grounds not on the Bible and not on Peter, but on ancient cults, Roman gods, Greek gods, pantheon, and all the stuff. Cybele, who holds the keys to earth. Janus, who opens the door of the sky and releases the dawn. And this has something to do with an ancient belief system. The key symbolizes initiation into the mysterious of the cult, and also can symbolize the chord between heaven and earth. So heaven, gold, and earthly stuff, material stuff, silver, like the silver coins, which cannot be separated. That's why the papacy, or the Vatican actually, is the only religion that I come across that they have a state and church combined. So that's coming from that book, which Hector has sent to us today. So the sovereign pontiff, or Pontifex Maximus, held the key of Janus and the key of Cybele. They were tokens of his position as their earthly representative. This is the flag of Mexico left, and this is the flag of Italy on the right. Do you see any resemblance?
It's almost the exact same
Almost
thing.
Exactly the same, without the eagle, yeah.
Yeah, and the wreath or whatever that is.
Yeah. You see, sometimes it's really interesting. Yeah, it's like the Pentagon. Yeah, this is your Pentagon, and I think that the majority of Americans are not proud of that. This is your Pentagon, right? This is your Department of Defense, which is not on defense.
In the District of Columbus.
Yeah, in the District of Columbus, yeah, but they are not on defense. They are on attack. You see, they are just making wars on countries like Afghanistan and all the stuff. At least that is the Pentagon. I think we can agree on that. And now compare that, please. Yeah, the Pentagon says they are working on a new project. It's called Project Maven. It's the Pentagon flagship of Artificial Intelligence Initiative. So they are currently working on artificial intelligence, of course. Sure. Robot wars, yeah, all the stuff. And now compare that, please, to the Palazzo Farnese, Villa Farnese.
Right.
Huh? The same Pentagon shape.
Same damn thing.
Yeah. Villa Farnese. Yeah. Is it any wonder? Is it any wonder when you see that there was a Pope Paul III Farnese, 1534, that was the same Pope that set the Jesuits into action. And Copernicus' work on heliocentrism was also dedicated to Pope Farnese, with their veneration of 5, of the pentagram, let's say, the veneration of the pentagram, Palazzo Farnese. Yeah, so it's no wonder. Knight Hospitallers are suppressed. Alexander Farnese, Habsburg Order of the Golden Fleece, reconquers the Netherlands for Spanish Habsburg. You see, you know then what your pentagon actually resembles. It's just the Villa Farnese in the Western Hemisphere, or in the New World, in America. It's always the same. Yeah, it's always the same. It has always the same reference to Roman Catholicism or to the papacy. Farnese family that founded the Jesuits. Yeah. On 9/11, the construction of the Pentagon, a pentagram shaped like Villa Farnese. Must be a coincidence then, huh? They have the same designer, the same architect, huh? Yeah.
No, looks like it's on the high places there. Huh?
Yes. Yeah. Sure, these people are superior. And they use also Roman Catholic architecture with these rounded arcs here as the entrance, for example. Yeah. There's another Italian family called the Borghese. Borghese is an Italian papal elite family. Elite, huh? So science must be their religion then. Of the black nobility, coat of arms with a dragon. From Tuscany, is related to Orsini's and Rothschilds, sorry. Palazzo Borghese in Rome was built on a trapezoid shape. Many members are educated at Le Rosey. This is the dragon here. This is the eagle and this is the dragon here. He looks at, he has quite a miserable day, I think. It looks a little bit greenish. Maybe he has had a bad meat or so.
Is that a phoenix, though?
No, it's just a dragon. Yeah, that could be a phoenix, could be anything.
Right.
But that is a dragon here.
Eagle / phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so these Italian elite families, so they are just also ruling spiritually because one of their members have become pope and then set Jesuits into action. So these people, Borghese and Farnese, they're meeting with all the important people, Galileo and all the stuff, Ignatius, Loyola. Yeah, that's all the same. All the same. Okay, so let's start with Mexico. Mexico, officially the United Mexican States, is a county in the southern portion of North America. It is bordered by the north by the United States. So what's interesting in Mexico, look at the religion there. It's 72%, Brad. 72.
Yeah, that's right.
That's almost 3/4.
Yeah, no surprise there.
No surprise. Yeah, because of course that has been discovered, or what else, by this, I think it was the Spanish people, it was. Yeah, I have to look up into these, Although the constitutions of 1857 to 1970 put limits on the role of the Roman Catholic Church in Mexico, I like Mexico. Roman Catholicism remains the country's dominant religious affiliation. The 2020 census by the Institute, etc., gives Roman Catholicism as the main religion with 77 point actually. So it's getting more and more popular of the population. Only 11% evangelists, officially Protestants. So 7-1 is the ratio. My.
Mm-hmm.
According to Jacopo Grinberg, the survival of magic religious rituals of the old indigenous groups is remarkable. There is often a syncretism between shamanism and Catholic traditions. So, any wonder? When you know about the keys of Cybele and Janus, and when you know about the Roman pantheon, any wonders? I don't think that anybody has to wonder. Interesting, the first maize pollen date to 3500 BCE. Yeah, why? Because the Earth or the universe is not 8,000 or millions of years old. Yeah? And they had also colossal heads from 1200 before Christ. Wonder how big the people there were. They were bred. Wonder how big they were before the flood. My. Yeah, and they have temples for the serpent. So, the official explanation from etymology says, It's referred the name to the Valley of Mexico around present-day Mexico City. It became the name of the nation formerly New Spain. That's why the majority of people is Roman Catholic, of course. Because Spain was the head of the spear for the Roman Catholic Church, even more Catholic, I have been told, than Italy. Next one is coming up in that list of Middle America is the Dominican Republic with Saint Martin and all the stuff. Yeah, so Dominican Republic, of course, Republica Dominica, is a county of the Greater Antilles in the Caribbean Sea, and of course from the Dominicans. Christopher Columbus himself explored and claimed the island for Castile, landing there on his first voyage in 1492. Yeah, so it's all Roman Catholic there. You don't have to guess. Yeah, the etymology, the name Dominican, originates from Saint Dominic, the patron saint of astronomers and founder of the Dominican order. Yeah. What did the Dominican order do before the Jesuits came up?
Oh, yeah, they headed the Inquisition.
They headed the Inquisition, yeah. So no wonder that the Roman Catholicism will be the prime religion there in the Dominican Republic, I think. Next one is coming up is Panama, the Republic of Panama. It's just I picked it out randomly here, so I thought I covered the most part of it. So Panama, since Panama is a land bridge between two continents, that is an oxymoron. If you have a land bridge between two continents, then it is one continent.
See the way they've completely like go back to the Sherlock Holmes thing.
Yeah, that's exactly the same what I thought. It's just like Sherlock Holmes, stupid people, bother with anything unusual, unnecessarily, and all the stuff.
Stupid people not initiated.
Not initiated, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Tells us it's a Central American nation. Its name is used of a political jurisdiction by 1530s. Oh, that's so close to the Jesuits. In Spanish, or Dominicans at least, probably from an unknown Guarani word traditionally said to mean place of many fish. Coming up to the next. El Salvador, San Salvador. What does it mean? It means the Savior. Yeah, a title of Jesus Christ from Old French Savieur, from late Latin Salvatorem, nominative Salvator. Oh, a savior, a preserver. It is an entire country been named after the Roman expression of a savior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a savior. Like IHS. Yeah, because IHS is supposed to mean Jesus hominem salvator. It's like El Salvador. We know that it's not the correct meaning, of course, but the official meaning of the Jesuits' IHS symbol is Jesus hominum salvator. Now, can I maybe presume that they have some influence in El Salvador? Might be. Nicaragua. Oh, with a pyramid. A flag with a pyramid on top and kind of race here and plants and mountains. The coat of arms of Nicaragua is, of course, Spanish, because every time you go into Middle or South America, and we're now making our way, you see it from Middle America now to South America, coming down to Nicaragua, it's either Portuguese or Spanish, yeah. But you will see the religion in Nicaragua is 84% Christianity, and this is absolutely incorrect. This is, of course, Roman Catholic.
Well, here's the thing. They say 84% Christianity, and then they say 55 Catholicism, and then they say 27. How confusing is that?
Yeah. Blinding you by science means to use complex words or explanations. Yeah, you see that it must be complicated then. And is every time that they absolutely deliberately use the term Christianity from Roman Catholicism. You don't find Roman Catholicism in here. It must be stated here Roman Catholic. But it does not say this. You see, this is just Christianity. They fool the entire world. Take no heed, Matthew 24. Take no heed that any man deceives you. but they deceive you into using the term Christianity as label for the Roman Catholic Church. Ja. Nicaragua, the Republic of Nicaragua. Etymology. The theory holds that the name Nicaragua was formed from Nicarao and agua, Spanish for water. The fact that there are 2 large lakes and several other bodies of water within the country. It was determined that the Caic's real name was nobody can read Makilmi-Kwitzli, which means 5 death. 5 deaths, interesting. In the Nahuatl language, rather than Nicarao. So nobody knows. I hope that my script does not crash. No. Yeah. Nicaragua, the etymology says, is a Central American republic named for the region visited by 1522 by Spanish conquistadors Gil González Dávila, who is said to have named it for a local native chieftain Nicarao with Spanish agua water. Yeah. El Salvador, of course. I've forgotten to implement it there. The capital city is San Salvador. Yeah, no wonder, huh? No? San Salvador, 56% Roman Catholic. Sorry, it is a little bit mixed up. Yeah, you see that. Now we're coming back to San Salvador. I'm sorry. Predominantly Roman Catholic, of course. What else? At least there are more official Protestants in that. Which leads us then to South America. And it's not a continent, no? It's just a part of America. Okay, so that consists of so many countries, and I have looked up almost everybody, except French Guiana. I think it was Suriname also. I left out these 3. But nonetheless, there are some big countries in it. Yeah, Brazil is quite huge. Yeah, and now you have the same problem, so to speak, in South America. In South America, you think they are just running sovereign countries, but they are not. Because even in their names you see that they have been founded on the basement of Roman Catholicism. Look for Colombia. That's not a space shuttle here. That is not a town or a county. This is an entire country in South America. So I have to ask. America consists of North, South, and the Middle or Central. And includes, of course, Middle America, whatever you would like to call it, because it's just one continent. Ever wondered why you don't hear much news out of South America? Could be for a reason, because you know that the mass media is censored. But when did you hear something out of Colombia, Brett? Most of the people do not know where it is.
Yeah, or Venezuela, or any of them.
Yeah, but we just been confronted by the things that we are just being kept busy with, like China, like Europe, like United States, like Russia, all over the place, Russia and Ukraine, at least here in Europe. But it could be for a reason that they don't talk about it, because it's called Latin America for a reason. And Latin America does officially consist of South America and Middle America. They have deliberately left out United States and Canada, because these were the lands where the Protestants were fleeing when they were being persecuted in France and Netherlands and anywhere in the Old World, and they were just coming to the New World. But already the papacy had conquered Mexico, Panama, Honduras, Nicaragua, Colombia, Brazil, Argentina, and all the alike. So this is all called Latin America for a reason. What is the only country in the world which speaks Latin officially? It's the Vatican. So you got here a direct connection to the Vatican. The distinction between Latin America and Anglo-America is a convention based on the predominant languages in the Americas by which Romans, language and English-speaking cultures are distinguished. Neither area is culturally or linguistically homogeneous. In substantial portions of Latin America, for Peru, Bolivia, Mexico, and Guatemala, Native American cultures and, to a lesser extent, Amerindian languages are predominant. But that must be a reason. Because here you see, not only for the first time, Pope Francis, Jorge Bergoglio on the left side, and the general of the Jesuits, so it is a military structure, it is an army, which is called Arturo Sosa. And both of them are coming from South America, or in other terms, Latin America. How awesome is that? This means, in my humble opinion, and we will go into this in the next sessions, this means that we should keep an eye on South America especially, because both the so-called white pope as well as the black pope or the Jesuit general are both coming from South America. And that can only mean one thing, that this is one overlooked part of a continent called America. For a reason. Because it is Latin America. So if there is one continent where the Roman Catholic Church could do as they please, without any interference of Protestants on a big scale, without any interference by indigenous tribes, then it must be Latin America. And I think that is no coincidence, Brett, that both of the popes, they came from South, or they are coming actually from South America.
Mm-hmm.
If you look it up here, then it is very interesting. I think that everybody knows that the white pope comes from Argentina and the black pope comes from Venezuela, right? Then it is interesting that in the German media it's been said that Caracas, which is the head capital, the capital of Venezuela, where the Jesuit black pope comes from, is the most dangerous city of the world. That is not a compliment. Caracas is the most dangerous city in the world. In Venezuela's capital, 100 murders are counted per 100,000 inhabitants. When the figure reaches 10, the World Health Organization, my oh my, speaks of a violence epidemic. And you see, that is like in the example of Greenland, that nobody talks about this on a broader scale. Yeah, how come that if he is a born Venezuelan, this Arturo Sosa, that he allows so much violence in his so-called own country?
Oh, it's simple. Jesuit motto. And justifies the means.
Mm-hmm. Caracas has already been named the world's most dangerous capital in 2017. After 5 years, it is still included in the list of the top 3 most dangerous cities. Yeah, so maybe our Cardinal Vigano, who is, in my humble opinion, controlled opposition, and otherwise he would be condemned. And what else? He takes on the Jesuits and says that Jesuits are servants of evil. Yeah, but the Jesuits are just being steered by their general, just an army, and it is just a spiritual warfare also, apart from physical stuff. This is just a spiritual thing. So in Venezuela, where Arturo Sosa is born, or has been born, Catholics have the majority of 71%. According to a 2011 poll, 88% of the population is Christian, so Roman Catholic, including Roman Catholic 71%. That leaves 17% of official Protestants. So, but what that means is that in all countries from Middle America downwards that we have been talked about, yet the majority of people are Roman Catholics. That means, on the other hand, that their head is not the president or the governor or who else of the state, but the Pope. Their authority must be the Pope, because he claimed to be infallible since the First Vatican Council in 1870. Coming to the next country, Colombia, the Republic of Colombia. The name Colombia is derived from the last name of the Italian navigator Christopher Columbus, which is really interesting, had granted 3 ships from the Queen of Spain. Yeah. The Italian name of Christopher Colombo, by example, means Cristo Foro Colombo. So this is Colombia. This is most famous or infamous for drugs, Colombia. Look at Why Me Weiß. They will tell you everything about Colombia. And it's not 12,500 years old according to the Bible. And this is all just science, so-called. The majority, 70 to 79%, are Roman Catholic. The capital city is Bogota, formerly known as Santa Fe de Bogota, which means, translated into English, the Holy Faith of Bogota. So you see in the name of the country, you see the influence of Italy and Spain, and you see it in the Roman Catholic faith. You see it in all the names of the towns, for example, here in Bogota or Santa Fe. This is Brazil. What does that remind you of?
Oh, yeah.
So what does that remind you of?
Looks like stars.
Yeah, I don't talk about the pentagram on the right side. I think about the ball on the left side. Yeah, within a diamond shape, which is a reference for wealth or material stuff, like the diamond on the garment of Lucifer, then in Garden of Eden. But doesn't it look like Saturn? Doesn't it look like a belt, which could also resemble the equator?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, and their motto is order and progress.
Order and progress.
Yeah. It's
Is this Portuguese? Okay.
Portuguese, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Portugal.
Portugal, yes. Mm-hmm. So, it's the largest country in South America and Latin America. Brazil is the world's 5th largest country by area, so it's extremely huge, and the 7th most populous, so it's a gigantic country. Its capital is Brasilia, while its most populous city is Sao Paulo, which means nothing else than St. Paul.
Oh, okay.
Huh?
Oh, another St. Paul. Oh, how familiar.
Yeah, one of their rivers is Rio de Janeiro. I think that I have covered that too. Brazil has the largest share of global wealth in South America as one of the world's major bread baskets, being the largest producer of coffee for the last 150 years. However, the country retains noticeable corruption, crime, and social inequality. How could that be? How could that be? Maybe it has something to do with Latin America. Brazil is a founding member of the United Nations, yes, and also an observer state of the Arab League. Yeah.
A founding member?
Yeah, they control all the states.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I think I would suggest that the United States in 1945 have been established after it was as a statement that the Vatican runs the show now, after the Second World War. The word Brazil likely comes from the Portuguese word for Brazil wood, a tree that once grew plentiful along the Brazilian coast. Once grew. That means that they have much on, what is it in English now? Destroyed all the plants there on the Amazonian region. I think it's very much talked about here that they are just cutting down all the trees there. And that has an effect on climate change as well. That's been talked about here. In the Guarani language, an official language of Paraguay, Brazil is called Pindorama, meaning the land of the palm trees. Mm-hmm. Some of the earliest human remains found in the Americas, Lucia woman, was found in the area of Pedro Leopoldo in Brazil. I said, oh my, Lucia woman bread. Yeah, sure. Lucia woman. Yeah, is in a cave, found in a cave in Brazil. 11,500 years, sure. And the nickname Lucia was chosen in homage to the Australopithecus fossil Lucy. Yeah, so it's all just Luciferian doctrine. Lucy. And this is the big river bread, Rio de Janeiro. What does that mean?
River of January?
Yeah, which means, what is the god of January?
Oh, excuse me, Janus.
Janus, yeah. And now you got, although it is Portuguese, yeah, you got the direct connection to the papacy. With Janus and Sabil, these two keys, at least that is a Roman god. The first month of the year in the Julian and Gregorian calendars. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. January in Latin is named after Janus, the god of beginnings and transitions in Roman mythology. Sure. Historical names for January include its original Roman designations Januarius, the Saxon term wolf month, means wolf month, and Charlemagne's designation winter or cold month. And this is Janus, the two-side god. Or two-faced god. Yeah. This struck me lately. The theatre in Brazil has its origins in the period of the Jesuit expansion, when theatre was used for the dissemination of Catholic doctrine in the 16th century. Could it be more just straight in your face? What actually the terms and the purpose of entertainment and theatre is.
The theater in Brazil.
Yeah, see, they are admitting, even on YouTube, that the theater has been used for the dissemination of Catholic doctrine in the 16th century. They're even admitting that out in the open, what the purpose of theater is or was. If I would be working on Wikipedia, I would erase that sentence because it's just too obvious. But I'm glad that I found it. This is just on the English Wikipedia site of Brazil. Yeah. So Brazil, founded in 1822 at the Independence Declaration from Portugal with a population of 211 million. It is ruled by the Jesuits. And the 13th largest gross domestic product in the entire world. Yeah? Sao Paulo, the Holy Paul, Santos, the Holy One, Rio de Janeiro, the River of January, Sao Luis, maybe another, also that kind of a meaning. Yeah. History, John III of Portugal orders missions to conquer Latin America and to convert the native tribes to Roman Catholicism, once again, not Christianity. The first provincial of Jesuits in Brazil in 1553, so these guys are so fast. 1554, Spanish Jesuit Joseph of Anchieta, related to Ignatius of Loyola, founds Sao Paulo. Could also means the sacred pole of Draco, but Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro. Spanish Jesuit, 1554. 1903, St. Ignatius College in Rio de Janeiro. 1940, the Jesuits established the Pontifical Catholic University de Rio de Janeiro. Jesuit as a president, Jesuit-trained director, Jesuits everywhere. Jesuits of the CIA install military dictatorships in Latin America. Jesuit Cazuza is used to push the gay agenda. Jesuit Marcelo Marques Moreira as Minister of Finance. Jesuits everywhere. Everywhere. Jesuits, Minister of Defense. Jesuits, Minister of Mines and Energy. Yeah. And then they had the expulsion of the Jesuits in 1758. I think that was the agenda then. Huh? Now I would like to come to Peru. Firm and happy for the Union is their motto. Peru has something to do with Simón Bolívar, which has much to do with Bolivia, and has independence since 1824. And incorporated the belief and the people of the Incas. They held the absolute temporal and spiritual authority as the god of the sun, who ruled from a magnificent rebuilt Cusco. From 1438 to 1533, the Incas used a variety of methods from conquest to peaceful assimilation to incorporate a large portion of western South America centered on the Andean mountain range from southern Colombia to northern Chile. Is it called Chile or Chile, or what is it called in English?
Chile, yeah, that's
Chile,
right.
okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they don't have to convert that much, Brett. You see that when they are just worshipping the sun, they're just worshipping the sun in Roman Catholic Church then, you see. It's the same.
Right.
Yeah?
Right.
Yeah. The Incas considered their king, the Sapa Inca, to be the child of the sun, which is the same as the Jesus Christ of the Roman Catholic Church. More or less. So, where am I here? Next one, coming up, Bolivia. A country in Latin America. Independence from Spain. 11 million people. It is a member of the United Nations. It is ruled by the Jesuits, who control the cocaine and heroin trade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Of course. Spanish colonists. Yeah. Now, this is the founder of the Republic of Bolivia. Any questions?
Any question?
Any questions?
I couldn't possibly be a member of a secret society.
Possibly, yes. Ask Sherlock Holmes then. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 1825 Declaration of Independence from Spain. The name Bolivia is introduced from Scottish Rite Freemason Simon Bolivar. That's that guy. Yeah, it's always the same. You see that right from the beginning, close to 200 years ago. Yeah, this is all controlled. This is not freedom of anything. The Jesuits established Sacred Heart College and all the stuff. And Latin America, of course, was a great hiding place for all the German Nazis after the Second World War, by no coincidence, because Latin America, it's the Pope, papacy, Vatican. Yeah. Vatican's Jesuits as vice president, Jesuit as president. Yeah, it's always the same scheme. Always the same scheme. Yeah. But Wikipedia, of course, doesn't tell you about that he was a Freemason, the name giver of Simon de Bolivar. Bolivia says it's just a city in the west. And the administrative capital is La Paz. Can you guess what that means in English?
Oh, boy. No.
The peace.
Oh, the peace. Huh?
Yeah. And can you guess what's in English Santa Cruz de la Sierra? It's very easy.
I forget.
It's the Holy Cross of the desert.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like crusade, huh? It's like cross. Yeah, and therefore you know that is not sovereign, that is a lie. Yeah, it's all being controlled by the people who have just founded that state based on Freemasonry and Roman Catholicism.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's always the same. Before the Spanish colonization, the Andean region, so the west mountain region of Bolivia, was part of the Inca Empire, as I told you that about sun worship. Yeah, 60 years of war followed before the establishment of the republic named for Simon Bolivar. Yeah, and then you know who have won that war, and we do not want to know how many people they have killed in that war. Yeah, to establish their government upon the people. And not a free elected and blah, 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 blah. It is just always the same. You see, that is controlled opposition, like in the case of the French Revolution, in my humble opinion. Yeah? And then Bolivia experienced a succession of military and civilian governments until 1971, when Hugo Banzer led a CIA-supported coup d'etat that replaced the socialist with a military dictatorship. Aha. Yeah. So, who runs the CIA, and then you know who runs the entire country.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you know maybe, Brett, why Bolivia remains the second poorest country in South America. Yeah. Because the Roman Catholic countries are not being well known for being wealthy and being generous for the general public, especially not if they're not in the Roman Catholic belief. So Bolivia has been named after Simon Bolivar, a Venezuelan leader. Aha, Venezuelan leader. There was some Arturo Sosa, I guess, leader in the Spanish-American Wars of Independence. That is also incorrect. You see, they were not independent then. Yeah, so it is just a wrong label here. It's not independence what they got. They got a Yeah. What else?
Counterdependence.
Yeah. Dependence. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just plain dependence. Yes.
Yeah, but it gets worse. Yeah. Rio de la Plata, that means plateau maybe. The original name was Republic of Bolivar. Some days later, Congressman Manuel Martin Cruz proposed if from Romulus, Rome, then from Bolivia, Bolivia. The name was approved by the Republic, etc., etc., etc. So anything remarkable here? Laplace Revolution, so the revolution of peace. Yeah, that is their... Have you any remark about their coat of arms?
Gee. Yeah, it looks quite similar in a sense to the painting or the artwork done on the French Revolution. What is that document called? Can't think of it right now.
Yeah, but I think about the head there we showed.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the Jacobin head.
Yeah. I think it was a Phrygian cap?
Phrygian or Jacobin, yeah. As far as
and then you got 5 pentagrams, and you know what it all comes from. Republic with that cap. Great. Yeah. Then come down further south to Uruguay. Any questions?
Right.
Any questions? I don't think so, huh? You see the sun symbol of the Jesuits.
Yeah.
Uruguay, the Oriental Republic of Uruguay, a republic east of Uruguay. It's always the same. The country name of Uruguay derives from the namesake Rio Uruguay from the indigenous Guarani language. There are several interpretations, including Bird River. The name also could refer to a river snail called Uruguay that was plentiful across its shores. So, when you would like to know what the capital city is Montevideo. Yeah, Montevideo means the mountain, and video means video. So, I saw a mount. So it has something to do with the mount. And there are thousands of explanations what it could mean. It could also mean vide, este e oeste. I saw a mount from east to west. Could also mean everything. That's the problem with the abbreviations. Yeah. Video, our etymology says, in visual equivalent of audio, video, I see a vision. So a mountain and a vision. This is Chile, the Republic of Chile. This is not something missing here, but it's white on white. So therefore, it is just consisting of a pentagram and then the other colors. Wikipedia tells you that there was 1973 a Chilean coup d'etat that overthrew Salvador Allende's democratically elected left-wing government. What they don't tell you is the date. Do you know the date?
No.
Okay.
September 11.
Sure.
Really?
Yeah. So this is Chile here, this most southern part of southern America. Chile has the lowest murder rate in America after Canada. The country is a founding member of the United Nations, of course. Chile, says the German website, Chile is at serious risk from global warming and has lost at least 37% of its water resources since the early 1990s. So they can do any fear-mongering they want. This is the source of it, 2020. And there's a city in Paraguay, a city called Asunción, which means ascending. And there are other cities too. In Argentina, Santa Fe de la Vera Cruz. So that means that is the Holy Faith and all the stuff. You see that where to start. You see that even in Argentina, 1599, the religious order of the Jesuits arrived in the settlement. And 1599 being the exact year when religio has been published. Wow. And also in Argentina, that's the city where the Pope comes from, José Bergoglio. They have interesting cities there too. One of them called Rosario. And Rosario is nothing else than the rosary. Yeah, Rosario is a girl's name of the Latin origin meaning rosary. This name derived from a title given to the Virgin Mary, Our Lady of the Rosary. El Rosario. Rosario. Yeah, that's the name of the city, Rosario, the largest city in central Argentina province of Santa Fe, the Holy Faith. How more Roman Catholic can it be? And then you got the Knight of the Rose Cross, yeah, Rosario. Yeah, and you see it's everywhere. It's really everywhere. The Cathedral Basilica Shrine of Our Lady of the Rosary is a minor basilica and cathedral dedicated to the Lourdes Virgin of the Rosary in the city of Rosario, province of Santa Fe, the Holy Faith, in Argentina. It is the mother church of the Archdiocese of Rosario. Rosario. In Argentina, with that coat of arms. I think that's not far-fetched here. Everywhere but this, everything but the sun. No, it's everything, only the sun here. It's just the sun dominant, and it's just the sun with that straight and serpentine lines like the Jesuits use. The Sun of May is called in the flag of Argentina, established 1818. Oh, why? Somebody loves the 18 here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rosario is one of the few Argentine cities that cannot point to a particular individual as its founder. The city's patron is the Virgin of the Rosary, whose feast day is October the 7th. Rosario, 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 everywhere. Everywhere. After the 1990s, Rosario became a major city of the illegal drug trade in Argentina, headed by a drug-dealing family called Los Monos, or the Monkeys. Argentina rose as the successor state of the Viceroyalty of the Rio de la Plata, a Spanish overseas viceroyalty founded in 1776.
Really? Wow.
So, Argentina has directly the Jesuit sun in its symbolism. And from that country comes the current Pope, Francis, or Jose Bergoglio.
Go back to that last point again. What?
Here.
Argentina was founded in 1776? Or no? What? What? It's just going too fast. I can't.
Okay.
It's not sinking in.
Argentina rose as the successor state of
the successor state. Oh, of the viceroyalty of the Rio de la Plata.
Yeah.
A Spanish overseas viceroy. Oh, wait. Okay, so that was founded in 1776.
Yes, the viceroyalty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we know that, you know what would be really interesting, Michael? Is to look at what happened in 1492 in South America.
Mm-hmm.
Were they brutally assimilated into the Roman Catholic faith down there, or did they just easily go right along with it like Paraguay or what?
It would be a little bit later, because in 1492 Columbus sailed the ocean, blah blah blah, and then he lost track. No, he landed in the Caribbean, actually. So he landed not in South America. So that was a little bit later with all the Spanish and Portuguese.
That was later. Okay.
Yeah. So that would be a little
but
in
it's
the
around that
16th century.
Right?
Yeah,
around that time frame.
Yeah.
Still. No, it's later. So okay, I see.
My point every time is that it's called Latin America for a reason, and they could and they can and they will do everything because they are just ruling all these states, all these countries in Latin America for centuries, Brad, centuries.
Okay, well, my cat's stomach is of course.
So. You see that you got Jesuits everywhere. Even Wikipedia is admitting in 1719 the Jesuits bought another part and established Estancia San Miguel. It has always to do with the Roman saint. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
And Pope Francis, our Jorge Mario Bergoglio, 17th December, so the 266th Pope, while having his son on 266 degrees. Yeah. Oh, sorry, there's a 2 missing. So, the head of the Catholic Church, the Bishop of Rome, and sovereign of the Vatican city-state, the first pope to be a member of the Society of Jesuits, the first from the Americas, the first from the Southern Hemisphere, and the first pope born on raised outside Europe since the 8th century papacy of Syrian Pope Gregory III. And I think that's the key, or one key hint, that has something to do with South America. Maybe they are preparing something that the entire world is not aware of, because they can control much more. And they can control not only all the media, but you see that all these structures, they have been growing and growing since hundreds of years. And that's why I think that they will operate massively from South America. If you go into the Wikipedia of the Pope Francis, you will see there is a subject of dirty war in Argentina. And of course, Pope Francis cannot be held liable because he's the head of another state now. But I don't want to exaggerate it here, but there are many, many complaints and allegations that he was involved in direct persecution of people. And Yurio accused Bergoglio of effectively handing them over to the death squads by declining to tell the authorities that he endorsed their work and all the stuff. I can't have any opinion about it because I wasn't there, so everything can be set up, but there is much talked about this. So these two, the white pope and the black pope coming from South America, they have something in common. And maybe there is just much more to come, which will be handled in the next session. And then you will see what it is all about. Thanks for having me and handing it over to my beloved brother Brett. Maranatha.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, this is it's here in the States too. I mean, there's all these Latin names all over the place. So yeah, it's in the court system. It's all over the place, and yeah, it has a meaning, and yes, it serves a purpose, and no, it's not very nice. That's what I gather from it, Michael. It's but that is the world we live in. It's not a place that I guess some people stake their entire livelihood on what they make, what they drive, who they marry, all that stuff. What does the Bible call that? Pride of life issues, right? So, being proud of your material goods and all that, instead of just, using them as something that serves another purpose. Anyway, yeah, Michael, thank you so much for putting this together. And yeah, it's not all that fun to know that this is what we're headed for here. This is not going to be a pleasant thing, but it was only 9 years ago that Pope Francis came to a joint session in Congress. Well, it hasn't quite been 9 years. It's been over 8 years, let's put it that way, because that was September of 2015. So we still got a little ways to go before it's been 10 years. But yeah, I think we are headed for the goal they have of destroying the what can we say? The American United States Republic, or however you want to look at it. Some would say that the domination that the United States has had over all of the world scene, and that's pretty serious. And yeah, there's some pretty serious implications. And yeah, we'll see what happens here, Michael, provided we live through it.
Yeah, and I have deliberately passed other countries, which we will talk about next time, and then you will see what I'm going to do, or what we are talking about, because I think that's that's the thing that they will come up with. Take heed that no man deceives you.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So I hope to catch up with everyone next time. God willing, we'll be here, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.